and Cam Newton talking about the Seahawks. He said they are our nemesis. He likens this to a team on the doorstep of a championship, but needing to break through against a rival roadblock who's been on that stage for a while. But Cam Newton did say the Seahawks bring out the best in him. He'll have both Ted Ginn Jr. and Jonathan Stewart and 100% on his offense. And Ron Rivera, his message to his team, play with personality, but keep your composure. That's the story from the field. Let's head back upstairs and Joe Buck.
All right, Chris, thank you. And that's the perfect lead into Mike Pereira, our rules expert. Play with composure, keep your cool. This has been a year filled with a lot of stuff after the whistle. We saw it in Cincinnati. What have these officials been told?
What they've been told is to get involved early, to separate the teams, try to do it physically without flags if possible, and if there's a significant injury, keep all assistant coaches off the field. That was their instructions heading into the game.
Off we go. Seattle won the toss. They deferred, so Carolina will get the football first. And that means we will see Cam Newton in this offense. Spanish language broadcast available on both Fox Deportes and by utilizing SAP on our broadcast. Joe Webb is waiting for the kickoff along with Cap. Cameron Artis-Payne, and Hauschka will get rid of it, and off we go. You can see him tiptoe as he made his way to the football with this footing here in Charlotte. Returned by Webb. He is knocked down close to the 25 by Kevin Pierre-Louis, who was a starter when these two teams met in week 6. And maybe this is why it wasn't so much Hauschka tiptoeing, it was that the ball was leaning and then about to fall before he kicked it off. Here's Cam Newton. 45 total touchdowns. How's that, Mr. Hall of Fame quarterback? 35 with his arm and 10 with his legs.
Yeah, something I can't relate to. I mean, he's had an MVP season, no doubt. He's just taken his game to a different level at a time when this team, really needed him, and he responded big time all year.
Handoff is to Jonathan Stewart, and a good start to his day. Inside the 40, Sherman gets to him and brings him down inside the 20. What a start and welcome back.
You see right guard Trey Turner, and then Mike Tolbert also is going to get the linebacker in the hole, and it opens up a nice lane to start this game for Jonathan Stewart, who's missed the last 3 games. What a heck of a way to start this postseason for number 28.
And there's no doubt he comes into this game, Troy, with fresh legs, with that time off. What burst for a kid who grew up about an hour southwest of Seattle. And now Cameron Artis-Payne is in there, and he gets it on the second play. And the ball's out, recovered by Carolina and Tolbert. It's a fumble by Cameron Artis-Payne. A guy who didn't play when these two teams met in week 6 in Seattle. But there was Mike Tolbert to fall on top of it, and it turns into a 7-yard gain. And right there, it's Michael Bennett who forced it.
Yeah, Michael Bennett, he comes in off of Orr trying to make the block, and he punches the ball out. And Michael Bennett is a disruptive figure in the middle of that defensive front. He knocks it out. Carolina fortunate there on the second play of the game to recover it.
Stewart back in there. Newton keeps it left side, and he takes it down inside the 5. K.J. Wright, and a 1st and goal he sets up. What a start for Carolina.
Pretty good. I know in visiting with Pete Carroll, he talked about the big difference between their offense and the one that Carolina runs, and that being the quarterback, and the way that they have designed quarterback runs for Cam Newton. That was a great example. They create a numbers advantage with the blocking scheme and having to account for the quarterback rushing the football.
Here's Stewart. Touchdown.
see Greg Olsen at the end. He makes a nice block as he collapses it. And then you've got one-on-one right there at the goal line, and who's going to prevail? And Jonathan Stewart off to a great start.
It's just a 4-play drive. It covered 75 yards, all 75 on the ground. And just 2.5 minutes off the clock. 7-0 Carolina. And that's the first time a running back has a rushing touchdown against Seattle since November of 2014. The big one by Stewart. Then he takes it in. Makes a young girl's day.
Today's game is sponsored by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide.
The Seattle Seahawks have won their last 6 games on the road, and they've been so dominant on defense, allowing 1 offensive touchdown during that stretch. Panthers just scored in a blink on a 4-play drive. Here's the All-Pro Lockett. And Tyler Lockett, the rookie, is brought down by Trey Boston. Just a 12-yard return. Here comes Russell Wilson after his defense just allowed the first rushing touchdown by a running back on the road since November of 2014 at Kansas City. It had been 12 road games since, and the fresh legs of Jonathan Stewart did the damage, including a 59-yarder, the longest run this year by Carolina, and the longest against Seattle all season long. And now we shift to number 3, and Russell Wilson, who's playing the position better than he ever has in the NFL. Welcome back, Marshawn Lynch, and his re-entry didn't go as well as Stewart's. Latulele, a loss of 3.
Well, you might want to block that guy. He's awfully good against the run. He's lined up on the nose right in the middle, and he just gets immediate penetration in the backfield. Marshawn Lynch, as you said, first time back in quite a while, has no place to go.
Basically 2 months. Since mid-November, had abdominal surgery the 25th of November. Did not play last week. Wilson just got it away. There's Kuechly. Touchdown, Carolina. And the game's best just added to the Panthers' lead.
Well, their 2 big guys in the middle make the first 2 plays of the game. This time, K'Wan Short, he swims Justin Britt at left guard, forces the pressure, and an errant throw by Russell Wilson, and Luke Kuechly makes a habit of returning these interceptions for touchdown.
That's his 5th of the season. It's his 2nd touchdown. And this game has been a blur from Seattle's side to start the day. 14-0. One on offense on the ground, this one on defense, out of the hand of Russell Wilson into the arms of Luke Kuechly. And the defense gets a takeaway and a score. And Cam Newton celebrating a 14-0 Panther lead.
Today's game is sponsored by Bud Light, the official beer sponsor of Super Bowl 50.
Carolina Panthers get their 40th takeaway of the season on defense. They led the NFL in points off turnovers. They get them immediately as they have their 5th interception returned for a touchdown. It's 14-0, and Seattle's got to get going here early. See if Lockett can give him a spark. Gets around Boston, tripped up, knocked down at the 25. Let's go back to the pressure of K'Wan Short.
Well, K'Wan Short, he's an all-pro defensive tackle. He had 11 sacks on the season, which led Carolina, and he makes a huge impact on the 2nd defensive snap of the game. He's been doing it all season long. They've got edge pressure, but those 2 guys inside, the way they're able to get after the quarterback, and then, of course, Luke Kuechly just reading the quarterback's eyes, where the ball is being thrown, an errant throw, and And as you said, Joe, 5 interceptions returned for touchdowns. This defense is made up of a bunch of playmakers.
From the 25, trying to get Lynch going. He slipped. Talked about the footing during the pregame. It's been a little treacherous already. A 5-yard carry by Marshawn Lynch. And while we catch our breath, we'll give you a look at this offensive line that was really solidified, Troy, when Patrick Lewis took over for good at center.
Yeah, you think about it, when the trade was made, they trade Max Unger to get Jimmy Graham, and Jimmy Graham really didn't have the impact that they had hoped to early on, and they really had a hard time solidifying that center position, which caused all kinds of problems. But Patrick Lewis sure helped him when he took over.
Wilson's got a wide open tight end. That's Luke Wilson. And he's inside Carolina territory, and a big play to a guy that's missed the last 2 games. He's been out with a concussion, good for 22.
Well, they flood that right side, and Carolina just turns him loose. Luke Wilson, who is their receiving threat, even more so now with Jimmy Graham gone, is left all alone over there on the sideline. Russell Wilson finds him.
Jimmy Graham played 11 games. Had a big game at home against Carolina back in October. Here's Lynch trying to make a cut. Lowers his shoulder, and Roman Harper is there waiting for him. A game of just 1. Well, this defense led the NFL in takeaways. It led the NFL in interceptions. And up front, K'Wan Short is as good as it gets. As you said, 11 sacks. That is a Panthers record from an interior defensive lineman.
You know, you think about it, Joe, you see the lineup there, and they've got an all-pro player at every level. K'Wan Short there in the middle, Luke Kuechly at linebacker, and then, of course, Josh Norman, man in the corner.
Second down and 9, play action from Wilson. And he's going to go down in the arms of Short. A loss of 10.
You're going to see Jared Allen here on the end. He comes up the field, and then he reads it. They're trying to come back that way and run a screen pass to Marshawn Lynch, and because he sniffs it out, and you've got K'Wan Short once again applying the pressure. So far here in the early going, both offensively and defensively, in the trenches, Carolina's dominating.
They're down in 19. Wilson in trouble. Finds Jackson. And Jackson's going to be about 9 yards short of a first down. Davis and Kuechly out there. And this defense runs through those 2 linebackers, 59 and 58. Thomas Davis finally rewarded with his first Pro Bowl nod at the end of a great year.
Yeah, they're a hard team to outflank. It's hard to do really much of anything against them, but running out wide and trying to outflank them is really difficult, and the reason for that is because of those 2 linebackers that run as well as anybody in the game.
John Ryan throws the football down, end over end. Fair catch called for, hauled in by Ted Ginn. And the Panthers will have it on offense for just the second time with a 14-0 lead. Does that guy have any fun on Sundays? You bet. They are here in the stadium, up 14 points.
The day's game on Fox is sponsored by Nissan. Innovation that excites. By T-Mobile, ditch your carrier and switch to the Un-carrier. And by McDonald's, celebrating the NFL playoffs with all-day breakfast.
Seahawks only allowed 40 first-quarter points during the regular season. They are the #1 scoring defense for the 4th straight year. See what's happened the last 6 road games. Coming into this one, it's 14-0 in a blink. Here's Stewart, nowhere to go. And as we look at the offense for the Carolina Panthers, they were out there for only 4 plays the first time they had it. And that big 59-yard run by Jonathan Stewart. Up front, they've got Khalil and Turner, 2 Pro Bowlers at center and right guard. And the backs and the receivers What a year for Greg Olsen, who was number 2 in yards per catch at the tight end spot to Rob Gronkowski.
Yeah, and Greg Olsen, think back to the last time these two teams met in October, that comeback win by Carolina. Greg Olsen, a huge factor in that ball game.
First pass of the day, and it's right to him, Greg Olsen. For a first down as he picks up 9. Bobby Wagner is there for the stop. And if you're down 14-0 on the road, you feel good if you're the Seattle Seahawks, because this defense, you can almost take them for granted. This is a fantastic defense, and they got to figure it out here fast.
That's great defense. #1 run defense in the league. They've given up the fewest plays of 20 yards or more, and that's why it was so impressive what Carolina did on that opening drive.
There's another good run by Stewart on first down. Gain of 6. For more on the footing today, down to the field and Aaron Andrews.
Well, after Jonathan Stewart scored on that opening drive, I stood behind Seattle's defense to see what they were saying, and the first thing that came out of their mouths, give us different cleats. Seattle had said during the week, make sure you're comfortable with your screw-in cleats. They had anticipated this field was going to be bad. Now the offense over there on the bench changing out theirs.
Resodded in the middle of the field after week 17. Here's Tolbert, the Pro Bowler, and the big running back / fullback, awfully close to another first down. And he's fired up like a bowling ball. 5'9", 245, and he's a load.
Yeah, in fact, in visiting with Jonathan Stewart, he talked about Tolbert when he's at the fullback position and running in behind him with him as the lead blocker, and he's got full confidence in him. But what he likes most about it is that, as a guy who carries the ball a fair amount himself, he knows what the running back's looking for, and that's been a pretty good combination when the two of them have been on the field this year.
Cam Newton 10 for 11 on 3rd and 1. This is 3rd and inches. They hand it off. Stewart left side, first down. This offensive line for the Carolina Panthers doesn't get a lot of notoriety, and maybe they're better as a group than they are individually, but what a job they've done blocking for Stewart, blocking in the ground game for Newton, and protecting him for the kind of year he had throwing it.
Well, that's really where the streak began last year. When you go back, was the play of that offensive line, particularly those 2 guards.
Newton keeps it, got all day. Great coverage downfield, and Newton has to skip it in toward Tolbert. And that was well played in the back end by the Seahawks defense.
Yeah, it sure was. You're going to see the matchups, and with time in the pocket, Cam Newton just unable to find anywhere to go with the football. This is a disciplined group defensively, and as I spoke of a little bit earlier, we saw the run by Jonathan Stewart, but typically this defense just does not give up a lot of big plays. They're hard to come by, and this is an offense, especially this year with Cam Newton, that has done a good job of driving the ball down the field.
Newton keeps it. And he will take it out across the 40 to the 41, gets a hit late. No flag. That was what drew the reaction from Greg Olsen and fans here. Gain of 5.
Joe, and visiting with Pete Carroll and saying you must really respect this Carolina team. They're built so much like the Seattle Seahawks and the things that you believe in. He says, yeah, they are, but it sure doesn't feel like that when you're on the sidelines watching their offense. And the reason is Cam Newton and the designed runs that they have in for him, and they use him in ways that certainly the Seahawks do not use Russell Wilson.
3rd down and 5. Pass is caught. First down, Kachuri. As he takes it across the 45.
I'll tell you right now, Carolina, they've pretty much got it all going. Even Jericho Kachuri trying to come out of the route. The field being a huge factor. We talked to Pete Carroll down on the field in pregame, and that's the first thing he said when we saw him was, boy, this field is something. It's going to be a problem, and already we've seen guys on the sidelines trying to figure out exactly what cleats to go with.
Newton keeps it, and that's what Pete Carroll was talking about. They're not scared to get Cam Newton hit. Let's go down to the field and Chris Myers.
Joe, you mentioned after the regular season, new grass was laid down the middle of this field. The grounds crew told me the ground is soft, but in decent shape for this time of year. Now, offensive coordinator Mike Shula said if there is a home field advantage, it's because this field is similar to our practice field this time of year. But outside the numbers, That's where the grass is worn, and that's where the greatest area of slippage is.
Well, here's Averill coming across, but he had the ability to get back, and the left tackle Michael Orr moved. This is going to be interesting.
The flag didn't come in until Michael Orr came out of his stance. I think it's going to be on Carolina.
And this is a rather lengthy conversation for this 5-yard penalty. Which way is it going to go? Is he directly across from Orr anyway? Tony Correnti is our referee. We haven't heard from him yet today. Now we do.
False start, offense, number 73. 5-yard penalty, remains second down.
As you see, Joe, when he comes into the neutral zone, Michael Orr at left tackle, he doesn't move. I mean, you're going to see the encroachment into the neutral zone. It does not cause Orr then to react to that, and he moves late, and they got him on it.
Mike Pereira.
And that's the key, Troy, is that the reaction was not immediate. It has to be immediate reaction to create a neutral zone infraction, and it wasn't.
10th play of the drive here, 2nd and 15. Newton, sideline wide open, Olsen. And the big tight end is going to take it down to the 30 of Seattle. 27 yards to number 88. And he was just left alone.
Well, it was a well-designed route by offensive coordinator Mike Shula. They're going to run a deep crossing route as they fight for the ball down there on the field with Richard Sherman and Greg Olsen. They run a deep crossing route, and they force Richard Sherman to make a decision. Is he going to play deep and get to there, or is he going to come up and take Olsen and allow Cam Newton to take the shot deep? Richard Sherman plays his coverage. He keeps the deep throw away, but it opens up an intermediate throw then to the tight end.
Ball came out late. They ruled Olsen down. Here is a handoff to Stewart, and they're having their way so far. A couple of third down conversions on this long drive. That a carry of 8 yards for Jonathan Stewart into the waiting arms of Earl Thomas.
Yeah, and as a quarterback, you come into a playoff game and you want to get off to a good start and you want to settle your nerves. And, you know, what a great thing for Cam Newton to have Jonathan Stewart go 59 yards on the opening play. And then, of course, the interception and the way things are going here, that helps any quarterback in this type of environment.
Hand off to the up-back Tolbert. He is near a first down. Let's see where they mark it. Needing to get to the 20. And it is third down and inches again. Only time for Russell Wilson trailing by 14 points in the first quarter was at Washington in the NFC wildcard game. They won that game 24-14 in a game started by RG3. The Washington Redskins. Meanwhile, the Seahawks have not allowed a 100-yard rusher in 26 games, and Stewart's already up to 81 yards.
How about that? You think back to the last time these two teams played, fourth quarter, comeback win, and they just picked up right where they left off in that game in October here in this first quarter.
Timeout Carolina with the play clock winding down, 3rd and inches when we come back. 42 seconds left in the opening quarter. You see the difference in ball control.
Yeah, I almost wouldn't be surprised if Mike Shula dials up some type of play action pass here on 3rd and short the way this game has started.
3rd down and inches. Good call. Wide open. Dixon, the tight end, down to the 5. 16 yards on 3rd down and inches.
Yeah, it's just hard to defense the play action when you're overselling to stop the run, and Dixon comes off the ball, finds a nice hole there, and they hit him. And I think that they run that play probably in the back of Ron Rivera's mind. Oh, Riverboat Ron probably with an incompletion goes for it there on 4th down.
What an opening quarter in this divisional round, in what is the budding rivalry between the Panthers and the Seahawks. A frustrated Seattle team, a happy group of Panther fans after one. 14-0 Carolina. You know what these eager kids are waiting for? They're waiting for a football down at that end of the stadium. It's It's first down and goal with the ball just inside the 5. Carolina already up 14-0 after 1. And this is a 13-play drive to this point. This will be number 14, and it started with over 8 minutes left on the clock. Here is Stewart. Stunner steps to the 1. Brought down by Bobby Wagner. Frustration for the Seattle defense and a lot of conversations going on the far sideline.
Yeah, a lot of conversation, more than we typically see. A lot of guys during those breaks trying to figure out exactly what's going on. It has been a long time since we've seen Seattle get handled the way they've been handled here through the first quarter.
Second and goal. Stewart again, leaps, got it, touchdown. Called immediately by the official on the near side, and clearly a touchdown.
Well, he does a nice job, but everybody goes down low, and really his only opportunity that he had to get it across the goal line, and there's the lucky little feller there. Gets that football. A moment he'll never forget, but great work finishing off the drive, going over the top, which was really the only option that he had. You're going to see everybody dives down low to try to create this massive body in the middle, and he takes it over the top for the touchdown.
That is the longest drive put together by Carolina this season with regard to time off the clock. And that 15-play drive results in another touchdown. First it was a lucky girl. Now it's a lucky young man. They celebrate here in Charlotte, up 21. Rather pleasant day here on January 17th. Divisional playoff round. Aerial coverage provided by Nationwide. History's got to tell us all that this game is a long way from being over. Whether it's the history of these two teams going head-to-head, recent history with this playoff season, and all the thrilling moments we've already seen, including last night. Green Bay at Arizona. What a game that was. Arizona moving on. Who plays them? We know this tonight after the Steelers-Broncos game. The UFC Bantamweight Championship is live on FS1. Champion TJ Dillashaw, former champ Dominic Cruz. Biggest UFC fight ever on free TV tonight after the AFC playoffs. Only on FS1. Jonathan Stewart has 2 rushing touchdowns in this game. The Carolina defense and Luke Kuechly has the other. 21-0.
I don't know if at any point, second quarter with 14 minutes to play, you'd say, wow, this is really an important possession, but man, that's what this is right now for this Seattle offense. They've got to establish something quick.
Hit as he threw it, and he's picked off again. Intercepted by Finnegan. Mario Addison got home, and it's the second interception thrown by Wilson. And Okun is down.
Well, Mario Addison comes off the edge. He's right around Russell Okun. He's the one who applies the pressure and forces another errant throw that results in an interception.
Take a break.
Today's game is sponsored by Universal Pictures' Hail Caesar, in theaters February 5th. By Nationwide. Nationwide is on your side. And by Burger King. Get 5 delicious items for $4 only at Burger King.
7th career multi-interception game for Russell Wilson. Russell Okun is on the bench. He was grabbing his left arm when he went down. Addison got around him, applied the pressure, hit Russell Wilson as he let it go, and there was Cortland Finnegan in his 6th game since being picked up as a free agent when the Carolina Panthers lost Bené Benwickery to a broken leg against Atlanta in the middle of December. On first down, Newton finds Cameron Artis-Payne. Good play made by Atabo Rubin. Let's go back to the interception.
Yeah, here's Mario Addison off the edge, and you're going to see Kearse, who comes in. He's got a corner route, and he's actually open, and that's where Wilson's trying to get the football. But once again, the pressure gets to him in time, and the difference in this ball game has been real simple to look at and define, and it's just been the offensive line and the defensive front for Carolina. They have controlled this ball game.
Seattle's defense looking to make a play. It's Cam Newton on the run and a good play up front. That's Bennett. And Bennett drags down Cam Newton, a loss of 2. Let's go down to Aaron.
And as we see left tackle Russell Okung leaving the field right now, Seattle saying left shoulder, his return is doubtful, Joe.
All right, so Russell Okung will exit, get looked at. A Pro Bowler in 2012, missed 3 games with a bad calf. That included week 17. And now he's out, 3rd down and 11.
That's a big factor, too, when you think about the way this game's shaping up. Russell Wilson going to have to throw it a lot more than he had been.
Newton broken up. Richard Sherman makes a play as he puts the arm in front of Corey Brown. And a good play by Richard Sherman exactly when Seattle needed it.
Deep dig route by Corey Brown, and Sherman drives on it and just thrown a little bit behind, but as he comes back to it, really an excellent play there by Richard Sherman.
Long field goal try now by Gano at 48. In his range, but I'm sure any kicker concerned about the footing out there as he hits it right down the middle. 24-0, Carolina on top at home. Seattle about to get it back with a big hill to climb. A couple of really good front office men. Ernie, of course, he's been in the league for a long time. His last go-around was with the Giants, the architect of the Super Bowl champion 2007, and in essence 2011 New York Football Giants. That was Dave Gettleman, who was in the Giants front office. Personnel department hired here in 2013. What a good job Dave Gettleman has done. For Jerry Richardson, the owner here with the Carolina Panthers. Ernie, of course, he has become a consultant around the league looking for front office personnel and head coaches for multiple organizations. The Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award, presented by Nationwide, has a long history of honoring players who have significantly impacted both the game and their communities. Each NFL team nominates one player for the award. The winner announced the NFL Honors Award show on February 6th on CBS. This year's nominee for the Seahawks is Richard Sherman. So good luck to Richard.
You know, right now, Joe, obviously Seattle needs to get something going. They need to score some points, but first they need to get some first downs. They've only had one here in this first half so far.
Alvin Bailey takes over at left tackle for the injured Russell Okung, and met in the backfield is Lynch. And it was Charles Johnson, the first to get there, no gain.
They just have been unable to get Marshawn Lynch going, you know, with the ball in his hands. They're just flying off the ball right now, whether it's applying pressure on Russell Wilson or containing Marshawn Lynch. Just nothing really to hang their hat on so far.
Sun pops out. 2nd down. Wilson taken down. Trey Boston. Loss of 8 on the sack by Boston. Didn't have one all year.
Yeah, Trey Boston comes from deep in the secondary, and Russell Wilson just simply doesn't see it. They don't have enough people to pick him up. There's coverage down the field, trying to get the ball to Baldwin, and by the time he's going to try to do something with it, Boston is there making a play in the backfield.
Sean McDermott, the defensive coordinator, no stranger to the blitz.
What do you think?
Brought one there. Now a timeout taken by Seattle. Their first before 3rd and 18. And Russell Wilson, with the play clock winding down, is going to come over and talk about this 3rd down and 18 as we will welcome you inside the broadcast booth. I'm Joe Buck. This is the Hall of Famer Troy Aikman. I didn't see this coming in any way, shape, or form.
Well, no, I don't think anybody did. Seattle certainly didn't. I know that. It was a confident, loose group. Pre-game warm-ups and coming into the game and how everybody felt. And, you know, when you play against Seattle, you never expect to be able to dominate the way that Carolina has in this ballgame. Everything going in their direction, and Seattle just unable to establish anything on the offensive side of the ball.
Here's a day for Russell Wilson. Meanwhile, the defense has had a tough time. The last time Seattle allowed 24 or more first-half points was in 2011. The #1 scoring defense in the NFL, 4th year straight. 3rd down and 18 here for Russell Wilson. Pass is incomplete for Curse. And it looked like he slipped at the top of his route.
Yeah, he does. And as a quarterback, when you see that, knowing the way this game has gone, you've already thrown 2 interceptions, you're ready to cut it loose, and you see your receiver slip, it's hard to trust that he's going to be able to keep his feet coming back out of it and give him a ball that he can catch. So the field clearly having an impact on the play of this game.
Ginn waits for it. Second punt of the day for John Ryan. Low snap. Not a good punt. Takes a good Seattle bounce. A decent starting field position for Carolina at their own 46. After a line drive 42-yard punt. Pete Carroll and Ron Rivera faced each other 5 times starting in 2012. Carroll has the advantage. 4 wins, 1 loss, but the games have been really close. 4 regular season games decided by 5 points or less. The lone double-digit win was in the divisional playoffs last season, but that was a close game, a 1-score game at the beginning of the 4th quarter when Seattle then just pulled away. The Panthers beat the Seahawks in Week 6 to go to 5-0 when they won 27-23, and they made their proclamation around the league that they were as good as there was in the NFC. Got to 14-0, finished 15-1. And up to Stewart, and well played. Cliff Averill was in there, not alone, lost half a yard.
Well, it's 2 coaches, Joe, that just share the same philosophy in how you win. Used to be that's the way everybody thought around this league, and you still hear it in terms of, hey, you want to run the ball, you want to stop the run, but few teams are as committed to pounding the football the way that Pete Carroll and Ron Rivera are, and then these defenses, they're fun to watch. Especially this Carolina one this afternoon.
On second down, Newton throws wide open, and there for the catch is Corey Brown. We've seen Olsen find a hole in this zone, and now we see Corey Brown left alone for 17.
Well, as I talked about earlier, one of the things that Carolina likes to do is they like to go vertical up the field. They got Greg Olsen in the slot. He's taking the seam, and Richard Sherman's anticipating that Corey Brown's going to run the go route as well. And once he gets him running, once you get any corner running like that, and you've got to come back on the sidelines, it's going to be pretty easy pickings, and that's what left Brown as open as he was.
First down again, pass is caught, Cotchery. You know, Mike Shula, the offensive coordinator, deserves a lot of credit. Shula took this spectacularly gifted shotgun option run at the first sign of trouble quarterback and has helped mold, along with Ken Dorsey, the quarterback's coach, Cam Newton into just as big of a threat standing in the pocket, throwing it downfield as he's been with his legs.
They got him doing what he's most comfortable doing at the end of last season. That is the no huddle that we're watching right now, and he has flourished in that system. It calms him down, and he's good doing it.
Second down and 5. Here's Stewart, still fighting. Jonathan Stewart inside the 30 to the 29. DeMarcus Dobbs on the stop.
Well, the other thing, and when you get ready for a Carolina game, and as a defense, and you're saying, man, they just have so much volume of plays, running plays, and formations, and No, I asked Mike Shula about it, and he said it's by far the most running plays that he's ever been a part of, anywhere he has been. And again, everything kind of funnels back to the skills and the ability then of Cam Newton, and that's why they are able to do all the things they do.
Newton's going to try and pick it up with his legs, and he does. He is 6'4", 245. Cam Newton doing his thing, picks up another first down.
Yeah, and initially Seattle kind of has him bottled up, but it's just brute strength. I mean, right initially there's nowhere for Cam Newton to go, and he's going to be short at that point, but he's unlike anyone, and really Carolina's unlike any team, and you pointed it out earlier in this game that they just let him do it, and they're not worried about the hits.
Fake it to Tolbert. They toss it to Ginn with some room to run. He's got another first down. And Mike Shula, when we talked to Ron Rivera a few weeks ago, he said when Shula was the offensive coordinator and calling these plays, gets on a roll, there's silence on the headsets, and he dials it up. Cam Newton takes care of the rest.
I think right now Mike Shula could call plays with his eyes closed and just point to something on his play chart, and it's going to work.
So far, it's had that feel. Here is Stewart. Well played up front by the Seattle defense, and a loss on the play. Cliff Averill was in there, not alone, a loss of 4. For the Panthers, this is what they do. While Seattle doesn't allow the 100-yard rusher, and Stewart is knocking on the door of that already. This is the 28th straight game with 100 or more yards rushing, and that's something that's not lost on Ron Rivera. He mentioned that in our meeting with him on Friday.
Well, and when you've done it as long as they've done it, you're pretty confident then each week that that game's going to be no different.
Even against this Seahawks D. Newton keeps it, batted down. Chancellor got it. Corey Brown the target. And Cam Chancellor, who was involved in an all-world game for him last year when these two met in the playoffs, batted it away.
Well, Cam Chancellor saved a touchdown because Corey Brown ran an excellent route at the top of this, and you're going to see how much space he had. He pushes it at the top. Jeremy Lane initially is thinking he's going to take the post, but he continued up the stem, and he forced him to get off. Created a nice lane, and Cam Chancellor, fortunately for the Seattle Seahawks, was there to knock it down.
Carolina 4 for 5 on third down, 3rd and 14. End zone. Olsen, leaping catch for the touchdown. You think Cam Newton hasn't changed his game? How about that throw to Greg Olsen?
He put it the only place you can give a receiver an opportunity to make a catch, but then you have to make the play. And Greg Olsen on the scene. I mean, that's good coverage right there. And the ball is just put in a perfect place. And Jeremy Lane just, one, not able to locate the ball, but it really didn't matter. Great ball placement, but Greg Olsen's been making plays like that ever since he arrived here in Carolina in 2011.
This to make it 31-0 from Gano. How about Cam Newton and the Carolina Panthers? There's Greg Olsen, his top target. What a catch, what a throw. What a first half for the #1 seeded Carolina Panthers, up 31.
Today's game is sponsored by Jeep Wrangler Backcountry Edition.
In a little over 23.5 minutes, Carolina has put up 31 points. It's already a new postseason record for points in a game for the Carolina Panthers, who are 0-2 in their franchise history, a franchise that Entered the league in 1995 in the postseason against Seattle. And the list keeps growing from her to the kid with the shades to that guy, Cam Newton, and the Panthers making people happy. The 2016 NFL Pro Bowl gets you closer to the players in the action. Hall of Famers Michael Irvin, you know him, and Jerry Rice select the teams of the Pro Bowl draft on Wednesday, January 27th. Watch the Pro Bowl live from Aloha Stadium January 31st on ESPN at 7 Eastern. Go to NFL.com/Pro Bowl to learn more. Well, what's it going to be? Seahawks from the 20 down 31 points with time left in the first half. First catch for Doug Baldwin, who had a career year. And in a game like this, you expect to see some of this on the sideline with Michael Bennett, who's the real leader for this defense, talking to guys on the bench. There's Wagner. Here is a carry by Fred Jackson. And they're going to give Seattle a first down here.
You get into a game like this, Joe, as I said, I mean, Seattle just doesn't get handled like that on the defensive side of the ball. And they've got a lot of veteran guys who have accomplished a lot of great things. It's going to be really interesting to see, for everybody to see how they respond as we move through the remainder of this game.
Here's Baldwin, a juggle and a catch. And then he gets popped at the end of it by Robert McClain, a 20-yard completion to Doug Baldwin.
Yeah, he goes up, he makes a play. You talked about it. What a year he has had. And when we talk about Russell Wilson and all the great things he did when Marshawn Lynch went down, well, Doug Baldwin was the recipient of most of those throws. A phenomenal year.
Wilson out to his right. Pass caught by Curse. Working on Norman. Let's say this. They're going to keep the clock winding. This is a Seahawks team. Who knows how this game is going to end up. But a Seahawks team that offensively is better suited to make a comeback with the way they've transformed themselves during the season. They are a more down the field offensive attack.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's a good point because they've done it and they have had to do it.
Here's Jackson with a first down.
So they're certainly, better built to accomplish that. And Russell Wilson's always had the confidence, and I can assure you that, regardless of what this score is, he's focused on this drive, this play, and there is no way that Russell Wilson believes this game is even close to being finished.
And we'll get a timeout prior to the snap. It's a Carolina timeout. Their second. Hey, if the Devil decided to quit, where do you think he would go? Well, Los Angeles, of course. What happens in the new Fox show, Lucifer? He gives bad a good name. Series premiere Monday, January 25th, right here on Fox. 2 timeouts left for Seattle. And on the game clock, 4.5 for the Seahawks, down 31.
There's a tendency, Joe, to go back to your point that when you just look at passing yards for Seattle, you say, yeah, well, they throw it okay, but, not that great. They rank 20th in the league. But that's just because they don't throw the ball that much. And Darrell Bevell does a good job of taking advantage of the skills. And when you look at it a little differently, yards per pass, they're 4th best in the NFL. So when they do throw it, they're effective doing it. Now they just got to do it against one of the best defenses in all of football.
Four-man rush. Wilson steps into it, has a man, and the rookie Lockett dropped it. Thinking about getting to the sideline before he secured the catch. And that'll go down as a drop.
Yeah, he had a chance and thought that he could catch it and turn up the sideline, and just unable to handle that and make the play.
Lockett, who really works hard. Works with the jugs gun while the defense is out there during practice. He's had a terrific rookie year. 2nd and 10. Taking it right up the gut is Wilson. And Russell Wilson is going to slide. Looks like inches short of a first down. And it is less than a yard away, 3rd down.
I think Russell might have lost track of exactly where he was on the field. He could have picked that up, and slid and thought that he had gotten it.
Pass is caught, and a good job by Baldwin. He got away from Coleman, and Coleman was closing on him fast. Had a shot to stop Baldwin before the first down, but a gain of 3.
Boy, you're not kidding. Kurt Coleman, he was barreling down on him. He read it the entire way. Baldwin just trying to catch the ball and get away from him as best he could, and he's going to come up way short of that first down if Coleman had made the tackle there.
Good drive here for Seattle. 9th play. They want 7. Wilson steps through it again. Flag is thrown. Looks like a hold as Russell Wilson tumbles forward with a first down for the moment, but it looks like it's coming back.
Holding, offense, number 78. 10-yard penalty, repeat, first down.
It's Alvin Bailey who is taken over at left tackle.
Yeah, he's holding Jared Allen right there is the call that got him. They're trying to take a shot up the field on a double move and get a quick score, and good coverage on the other end forces Russell Wilson to run. But yeah, Alvin Bailey, as we move into this second half and the Seattle Seahawks then having to work against the clock, they may end up having to give a little help over there to Bailey.
He made 3 starts during the year at left tackle. Okun out with an injured left shoulder, 1st and 20. Quick throw, pass, skips in, incomplete to Fred Jackson. Clock stops with 2:59 in the half.
They got a hand on it. Dwan Edwards was able to get a hand on that ball, and that's why it came out as funny as it did right there at the line of scrimmage.
Now this is a Panthers secondary that's a bit shorthanded. They lost Charles Tillman and Bené Benwickery. The veteran and the young corner both are on IR. There's been pressure on Russell Wilson. That can cover for a thin secondary. Sideline passes to Kurtz, incomplete. Made the catch but out of bounds. Robert McClain, the guy who's taken over for Charles Tillman, is there in coverage.
Yeah, Robert McClain, who, as you see, he's out of bounds. Robert McClain, who was originally a 7th round pick by the Carolina Panthers, and someone that Russell Wilson said they were going to target in this game. Of course, Josh Norman, in the year that he has had, you're not going to go against him. As says he doesn't shy away from anybody. You got to be smart in that direction. Go after McClain. You just haven't been able to hit anything on him yet.
Third down and 20. Wilson finds a man, pass is caught inbounds. The answer is yes. And it's Lockett, who shows good footwork on the sideline, but short of a first down. And it looks like Pete Carroll's going to go for it on 4th down as we get another look.
This is an interesting move. Of course, you say, well, you're down 31 points, but those first few points are hard to get. And you know, sometimes once you at least get some kind of points on the board, you can roll. I mean, there's still an entire second half to play. They're fighting an uphill battle. This would be a huge victory for this Carolina defense if down in here they don't give up anything.
Timeout taken by Russell Wilson. It's been a rough day for Russell Wilson. He has been sacked a couple of times. He's been hit plenty. He's thrown 2 interceptions. One to Luke Kuechly, the other to Cortland Finnegan. He's had guys in his face since this thing kicked off.
Yeah, I think right from the beginning we saw Star Lotulelei. He's able to make a big play there on the first snap, and then K'Wan Short, he forces the errant throw by Russell Wilson. It's 14-0 right away. Trey Turner offensively at the right guard spot. He's made some nice blocks, but just dominating in the trenches has been the difference in this ball game and the way that it's unfolded.
In case you're wondering about the catch by Lockett along the sideline, Mike Pereira is in the booth down to our right. He says the catch was good. Lockett got both feet down as he headed out of bounds. So it is 4th and 5. Seattle 1 timeout left. 2:22 in the half. 12th play of the drive. Will it end up in the end zone this drive? Blitz. Pass is caught. Baldwin, and he's going to be stopped short. What a tackle by the vet, Roman Harper.
Roman Harper, the 10-year veteran, he's done his scouting report, studied a lot of film. You're going to see him, and he hangs in there. Excuse me, there was the other guy inside, Roman Harper, 41, but he hangs in the middle, anticipating that that's where the ball is going to come on the slant route. He drives on it, makes a nice stop to keep them from picking up that first down.
Picked up as an unrestricted free agent, Roman Harper from the Saints last year. Two-time Pro Bowler, and now he's that veteran presence on the back end. His partner at the safety spot, Kurt Coleman, had a huge year, 7 interceptions and a touchdown. And as you said earlier, they're good at every level. Still no points for Seattle as the Panthers get it. The turnover on downs by the Seahawks. Here's Tolbert. And he just does not go down easy. Tolbert picks up a couple brought down by Averill. And we are at the 2-minute warning. It's been a stunning first half for the Seattle Seahawks on the road, where they've been so good of late. Down 31. Get official NFL and team apps, podcasts, games, and more at itunes.com/NFL. Second down for the Carolina Panthers, leading 31-0. 2 minutes left first half. 2nd and 8. Here's Tolbert again. Third down coming up.
I think you look at this and where you're at on the field now, 3rd and long, and yeah, Mike Shula wants to keep his foot on the gas, and with plenty of time, but for Cam Newton, you be real smart here, with the football and just not force anything and give anything easy to this Seattle team.
There's a day for Cam Newton. His touchdown was to Greg Olsen. Jonathan Stewart has carried it 11 times, and he is 16 yards shy of a 100-yard day. 3rd and 6. High snap, Tolbert again. And it's going to be a defensive stop for Seattle during the 2-minute warning, as Seattle will take their final timeout. Cliff Averill checked out with an injury. Here's what's coming up at halftime. Kurt, all yours.
Well, Joe, I know it was a big deal this week when it was announced that the Rams were coming out here, but Fox NFL Sunday's been here all along. It's where we do the Visa halftime report, and today we'll talk about the first half of your game.
The Cardinals advance to the NFC Championship game.
And we'll be joined by the coach of the Arizona Cardinals, Bruce Arians. It's all coming up live from Los Angeles on the Visa halftime show.
I was a little surprised, Joe, there on 3rd down that Carolina had elected to throw it. They might run a screen pass or something safe and give yourself a little better opportunity to pick up that first down. But now we'll see whether or not Seattle is able to take advantage of this. They should have decent field position with still plenty of time to try to do something here before the end of this first half. Give themselves some kind of confidence and momentum heading in.
First punt of the day for Brad Nortman. Lockett with a fair catch, called for just inside the 35. And we'll take a break. When we come back, we will see if Russell Wilson and company can get on the board before the half, down 31. Our NASCAR champion Kevin Harvick is in the stadium here. And then some guys who are not NASCAR champions in the studio back there.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, I saw Jimmy doing an ad for something one time in a NASCAR uniform.
Yeah.
I don't remember what that was exactly, but anyway.
Should we move back to the game now? With 1:05 left in the half. Michael Jordan's in the house too. He has developed a good relationship with Cam Newton. We'll get into what Cam said about his and their rivalry with the Seahawks, comparing it to Jordan in the early years against Isaiah Thomas and the Detroit Pistons. Today it's been all Carolina on first down. Handoff to Lynch. No timeouts left. And Lynch is doing his thing. Abdominal surgery or not. Basically taking time off the clock as he's dragging tacklers with him. Name the tackler, probably in on it, a gain of 9.
Yeah, I think Carolina would say, okay, that's all right. You want to run the ball, and we'll let you see if you can drag us down. We'll just run some time off the clock in the meantime.
Yeah, there's now only 33 seconds left in the half, no timeouts. And now a throw to the middle of the field. It's Luke Wilson, but the Seahawks are going to have a tough time getting 2 more plays away.
Yeah, this has not been handled well at all. As much time has come off the clock running the ball. I don't know why you do that, but
now 10 seconds, so maybe something quick out and then take a shot at the end zone or heave it. How about that throw last night by Aaron Rodgers? Lightning striking twice in the season for Rodgers and the Packers with that touchdown throw at the end of regulation to Jeff Janis.
Yeah, and really even twice in last night's game with the 4th and 20 and then the touchdown. Pretty incredible. What a great game that was. And congratulations to Bruce Arians and the Arizona Cardinals.
And Carson Palmer, who got his first playoff win. And we have a timeout taken by Carolina. No timeouts left. Here's what's coming up on the halftime, Visa halftime. Bruce Arians will visit with the guys live. The number 2 seed, the Arizona Cardinals. In the NFC playoff picture, they've advanced. The number 2 seed in the AFC playoff picture, the Patriots have advanced. And Ron Rivera, 3 straight division championships. Just a symbol of integrity on the sideline as far as I'm concerned for the Carolina Panthers. Guided his team to a 15-win season. And they are rolling today. Seven guys back deep for Carolina. They are going to get the short pass to Jackson. He hops out with 4 seconds left, and they'll have a more realistic shot at the end zone with that 12-yard completion to Fred Jackson. 4 seconds left in the half.
Well, they're right there on the verge of Hauschka's range, and that's what they're going to see if they can come away with a field goal here to end this half.
So the decision earlier was to go for it on 4th and 5. And here they try a 55-yarder just to get on the scoreboard with the play clock winding down. Hauschka is no good. And his first career miss in the postseason. And nothing went right for Pete Carroll and the Seahawks here in the first half. Everything seemed to go right for Carolina with a 31-point halftime lead, the largest lead in Carolina Panthers history. Take a break. Visa halftime coming up after this from your local Fox station. Today's excitement is brought to you by Nissan.
We're going to show them what it's like when you come in here, we fly around, and we hit them in the mouth all game long.
And that was today's excitement brought to you by Nissan. The excitement has been lopsided, 31-0 at the half. As we look at the first half stats, total yards, third down conversions, time of possession, all favoring Carolina. The defense has been swarming. And right now the offensive line for the Seahawks can't keep guys out of the face of Russell Wilson. It's going to make it really hard to mount a comeback here today. Largest Seattle comeback win all time, just so you know, is 21 points down back in 2013 against Tampa Bay. This Carolina team and defense, not the 2013 Buccaneers. This one on a couple of hops to Lockett. Tyler Lockett. Webb goes to him and forces him out in midfield. And a nice start to this half. Tyler Lockett, and the flag comes down on the far side of the field. Let's take a look at the return.
Well, we'll see what the flag is all about. It certainly was a nice return by Lockett to start this half.
Unnecessary roughness, number 42 of the kicking team. 15-yard penalty and first down.
So it adds 15 yards on a personal foul against Colin Jones.
Colin Jones is going to add to it, so what was already going to be excellent field position just got a little bit better. And looking at this second half, all three phases are going to have to win in their respective areas, offensively and defensively, and then you need plays like this in the kicking game to get back into it. So a good start for Seattle here for the second half.
The difference between this shutout in the first half and last week, the opponent had only 3 points. Talking about the Vikings, the Seahawks beat 10-9. 50-yard return plus 15 yards. First down, quick throw. And that's one of the young receivers, Kevin Smith. And Smith on the far sideline, good for 8. Let's go down to Aaron.
As Seattle came out of the locker room, Joe, Russell Wilson was screaming to his teammates, right now, right now. Head coach Pete Carroll told me for the offense, they just felt like they never really had a chance to get started. I'll add more here after this.
Second down and 2. Quick throw, Baldwin first down, and he gets popped by Coleman. Aaron, go ahead.
And finally, Joe, like I said, he felt like this offense never felt like they got started. Seriously, he said at this point, it's just one play at a time. They've scored 31. We need to score at least 32. One final note, Cliff Averill in street clothes. He's not going to return for Seattle.
A neck injury late in the first half of the 2-minute warning. First down. All alone Curse. Waited for the pass and then ends up out of bounds. Driven out by McLean, but a gain of 9.
Pretty soft coverage there by McLean out at the corner position, but this drive looks good. And I think to go back to what Aaron said, if there was a team that is going to believe that anything can happen, it certainly is the Seattle Seahawks in some of the improbable games that they've been a part of.
Trying to get on the board. End zone, Curse. Touchdown. And in less than a minute and a half off the clock here in the second half, the Seahawks are in the end zone and on the board.
It was interesting. I want to take a look at this. It looked like at the top of the route there might have been some contact by Curse on McLean that bodied him up just a little bit. Nope, just the way that McLean reacted anyway, it looked like he might have been pushed just a little bit. He just lost his footing, lost track of the ball. It's a great job to come out to start this second half and come away with a touchdown. And I think that's why even to end that first half, not coming away with any kind of points whatsoever with a field goal, especially when they were down in there when they went for it on fourth down, certainly hurt.
50-yard kickoff return plus the penalty on Colin Jones. They are making sure it was a clean score. Looked like it. And Jermaine Kearse, who did not have a catch against Carolina in Week 6 in Seattle, had a big 63-yarder last year in the divisional playoff game against Carolina, is good from 13 yards away. And now the extra point coming from Hauschka. It was the electrifying rookie Tyler Lockett, who is a Pro Bowler and All-Pro, with a 50-yard return to start this second half. It led to this. Jermaine Kearse good from 13 yards away, and Russell Wilson and the Seahawks aren't finished yet.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Chevrolet. Find new roads. By Microsoft Surface, the official tablet of the NFL. And by Burger King. Now get 10 chicken nuggets for $1.49, only at BK.
Well, Russell Wilson's doing his best on the sideline to keep his team up after that 4-play 35-yard drive. And here is a little pop-up kick. He takes a bounce. There's Joe Webb on the return for the Panthers. Out across the 25. Let's go down to Chris Myers.
Joe, I asked Ron Rivera at the half if he was surprised to be up so big against the defending NFC champs. He said, yeah, it's not as easy as it looks. We made some big plays, but we know what they're capable of, and we just saw it. He said he's not going to go conservative. He said we want to add to our lead, not protect it. And he told his team, he referenced the game against the Giants this year when they had a 28-point lead, and the Giants caught up before they had to rally to win that. He reminded his team about that before hitting the field here in the second half.
Chris, thanks. It was 35-7 Carolina at the Giants with 5 minutes left in the third quarter, and the Giants scored 4 straight touchdowns to tie the game with 1:46 left. Beckham Jr. with a game-tying touchdown after all those battles with Josh Norman. They got him suspended the next game. On first down, Newton is incomplete. Looked like he had Greg Olsen closer to him, but he aired it out for Ginn. 2nd and 10.
It's a long way to throw the ball when you're on the move like that. He did have him, there for a little bit, but Seattle can react so quickly to it. A little bit of a dangerous throw there by Cam Newton, but from Seattle's perspective to start this second half, they get the big return by Lockett. The offense does their part. Now the defense, they're going to have to do theirs and start making some key stops.
2nd down and 10. Hatchery in the backfield. Cameron Artis-Payne right side. Wagner on his back. Ball looked like it might have popped out, but Cameron Artis-Payne, who fumbled earlier in the game, got right back on it. Gain of 3.
You look at what Carolina was able to do rushing the football. The numbers obviously are pretty impressive, but after the defense gave up that 59-yard run to Jonathan Stewart to start this game, Stewart has not really gotten much going, so they've at least tightened up on him since that first run.
Stewart 11 carries, 84 yards. Carolina 5 for 7 on third down in this game. 3rd and 7. Newton throws, pass, caught. Olsen, did he get it? Right at the marker. Cam Chancellor forced him out. And Tony Correnti is going to call for the chains.
I think that one's worth taking a look at to see exactly where the ball was. I thought from here, Joe, it looked like a favorable spot.
Mike Pereira down to our right is mouthing to me, it looks okay.
Well, I'll tell you, it's the tough spot to get because you've got to get exactly where the ball crosses the sideline from an official who's trailing the play. But it looks to me like it's not a spot that could be overturned no matter what this decision shows.
You got it. First down, Carolina. As you look at Tony Correnti, if our friend and the NFL's friend Chris Mortensen needs any inspiration, announcing this week that he is dealing with stage 4 throat cancer, there is a stage 4 throat cancer survivor right there in Tony Correnti.
Well, our thoughts and prayers are certainly with Chris Mortensen as he takes on this battle, and look forward to his return.
Here is Newton keeping it on the read option. He slides down with a gain of about 2.5. Mike Pereira, I know Tony Correnti was the best man at your wedding. And have you had any contact with Tony with regard specifically to Chris Mortensen?
Yeah, I did. I talked to him before the game, and he reached out to me to give him Chris's number to call him because he's going to reach out to him this week. There's no better person than talk to Chris than a survivor of the same thing. And Tony's stories, it's great. It can be beaten. He proved it.
2nd down and 7. There's Stewart trying to get it going again. There's KJ Wright. Had a great year. In on the stop, a gain of 2. 3rd down coming up. And so Tony Correnti, Mike, who was diagnosed back in 2011, is here working a playoff game in January of 2016. Down there to be yelled at and second guessed for the next 3 hours of the past hour and a half, doing his thing, and we wish the best, all of us at Fox, to Chris Mortensen, one of the real good guys in this business. On 3rd down, Newton in trouble, And sacked. Cleaning up was the rookie, Frank Clark. But Newton had nowhere to go except down, a loss of 10.
Coverage sack the entire way. Plenty of time for Cam Newton to find somebody down the field. Initially, he thought he might be able to get a shot down to Ted Ginn Jr. and then underneath to Olsen, but nothing there, and then Clark is able to make a play. So defensively, they had a tough time getting off the field on third down, and they're able to make a key stop and give the ball back to their offense, and those are the things that are going to have to continue for this Seattle team.
Pete Carroll really believes his Seahawks have an advantage in this part of the game. It's hung high. It's Lockett, the rookie, on the return and sliding down across the 35. Seahawks scored the last time they had a good play by the rookie Clark. Seattle with the ball, down 24. Troy Aikman's going to talk you through this graphic. Figure that out. But today, the divisional playoff between the Pittsburgh Steelers and the #1 seeded Denver Broncos. That's coming up at 4:40 Eastern later this afternoon. Then next Sunday, we know the Patriots are in. We know the Cardinals are in. AFC Championship game will be first up, then the NFC Championship game. The winner of this one will take on Arizona next Sunday night. First down and 10 for the Seahawks. Little pump fake. Has a man, but overshoots Doug Baldwin. And that could have been a quick strike on the first play. But Wilson, incensed, put too much air under it.
Yeah, he had him too. You're going to see the safety drives on this on the double move. We saw it earlier on that third down where they give the same type of look. Coleman jumps it. There's nobody there. I mean, if you even have to make him slow up to catch it, he's going to score a touchdown.
Wilson jogged about 15 yards back toward his own end zone. Here's a dangerous throw to Kristen Michael out there on the field for the first time. McLean broke it up. But on that first play, Wilson might take him a minute to shake that opportunity to Doug Baldwin.
Well, those are the hardest ones to complete oftentimes when you've got a guy so open. And you know what we have seen, though, Joe, here in this second half that we thought we were going to see much earlier is Russell Wilson going after Robert McLean. They opened up this second half, a couple throws his way, and then they get the touchdown to Curse on him, and they're doing the same, or at least trying to, here on this drive.
It's another third and long, 3rd and 10. 1 for 4 on third down in the game. Wilson slides through, and he will pick it up with his legs. Ducks a hit from Coleman. First down, Seattle. And they finally convert on 3rd and long.
Well, this is the one area that Ron Rivera and really everybody you talk to on the defensive side of the ball has said, hey, we've got to contain Russell Wilson. That was the #1 objective, and now faced with a 3rd and long, and he's able to pick it up with his feet.
14 yards on 3rd and 10. Kuechly barking out signals to the defense, and here they come. Lynch trying to pick up a block. Wide open is Kurtz. And Marshawn Lynch got just enough of 2 blitzing Carolina Panthers. This completion good for 16 to Kurtz.
Yeah, they bring the pressure off the edge. Russell Wilson knows he's going to take a hit. He's got to stand in there and deliver the football. And you see they turn him loose as Wilson kind of works away from that, avoiding the rush in the pocket.
Lynch lined up wide to the left at the top of the screen on first down. And a sack, this time in the arms of Dwan Edwards. His 2nd of the year.
You mentioned that they split out Marshawn Lynch. That's where Russell Wilson wanted to go with the football, but no one blocks Edwards in the middle.
And that's really been the story of the game to this point. The pressure from this defensive line against this Seattle Seahawks O-line.
That was quick pressure, too, because that ball was not going to be held very long. Just beat right off the ball by Edwards to get to Wilson.
2nd and 19. Wilson steps through again. Turns it into a positive play as Harper is there to tap down Russell Wilson. He gets up signaling first down, but he's not looking at the right marker. That was a gain of 8. And they still have 11 to go. 3rd and 11.
Every week you watch Seattle play, and every week Russell Wilson makes plays that there's just not many guys that can make. And last week we saw it against Minnesota, which certainly helped them win that football game, and that was another one there.
They don't get it here on 3rd and 11. Another decision for Pete Carroll. Blitz off the edge. Seahawks pick it up. Lockett in the end zone. He's got it. Touchdown. What a catch by the rookie working on Kurt Coleman. And what a throw. And we'll take a look and make sure that Tyler Lockett did secure the catch. The knee is down, and then he's out. That's a touchdown.
Well, they had the right call, Joe, at just the right time. You're going to say, why is Kurt Coleman on Tyler Lockett? Well, Carolina dials up the blitz. They bring Josh Norman off the edge. Coleman comes over the top. He's one-on-one on a speed demon up the sideline, and Russell Wilson delivers a perfect ball.
2 3rd and long conversions on that drive. And here is an extra point that just sneaks in. But the 33-yarder, boy, did they get a lot when they drafted Lockett. 3rd round out of K-State, a big one. More noise from the Seahawks.
Today's game is sponsored by Verizon. Join a better network because better matters.
What's your man Lee Corso say?
Not so fast.
Not so fast, my friend. Seattle climbs right back in it here. This one is hooked. Will it stay in bounds? It will. This is Webb. And that was really well placed by Hauschka. Coleman is there on the stop here. Lewis as well, and just an 8-yard return back to the touchdown.
There's Josh Norman coming off the corner, and you got Kurt Coleman, who has to then cover Lockett, and he's not anticipating a deep throw. He's expecting, because of the blitz, that there's going to be a quick throw coming out from Russell Wilson, but they have it blocked up. Christian Michael was there, and you see it's just a mismatch. A perfect call at the right time against that defense, and Tyler Lockett finishes it off.
We talked about this a couple of weeks ago, that the Seahawks have been blown away with what Tyler Lockett has given them as a receiver. They knew he would eventually be a weapon out there, but it came fast. Much more than just a kick returner. High snap, handoff to Cameron Artis-Payne. This is a Carolina team that's without Fozzie Whitaker, the top backup to Jonathan Stewart. Inactive for this game with a high ankle sprain. A gain of 2, 2nd and 8.
Right now, Carolina, they're trying to get a little something going, and right now all the momentum over there on that Seattle sidelines, and they have played well. And even to start this with the kickoff, as you said, well placed, started them off inside the 20-yard line.
There's Bennett. You know, he wants to make his presence felt. Quick throw, Funchess, and a nice catch for a first down. He hangs on after a hit from KJ Wright. The rookie has been coming on down the stretch for Carolina.
Yeah, he really has. In fact, that Week 17 game had his first 100-yard receiving day, and someone that they've had to rely on this year, probably a little bit more than they expected, obviously, with the loss of Kelvin Benjamin back in the preseason.
He went down in August. Benjamin had a 1,000-yard season on 73 catches last year as a rookie. Here's Stewart. Had 9 touchdowns. As Bobby Wagner makes the tackle for Seattle. You can watch every NFL playoff game live on your phone with NFL Mobile. And it was Cam Newton who talked about being a leader when he lost his top weapon in Kelvin Benjamin. He knew guys were going to be watching him, how he reacted during camp. There's Kelvin Benjamin, what a future he has. He tries to come back from the knee injury. Newton hasn't looked back. He's made the players around him better. Quick throw, Cotchery, and he's on the list of players who have been made better by Cam Newton. And a guy who's got over 7,000 receiving yards in his career, good for 10.
Cam Newton kind of has his pick right here. Initially, he's trying to get that wide receiver quick screen to Corey Brown, but Seattle plays it pretty well, and it gets Cotchery then on the slant route, and so great discipline by Cam Newton, not forcing a throw that wasn't there, and actually getting the bigger gain out of the play.
First down, Panthers taking their time up at the line. Over 5 to go, third quarter.
You want to try to milk the clock down. At the same time, you don't want to lose, your tempo as an offense, and that's what you have to balance if you're Cam Newton.
Have to take a timeout with the play clock at 1. First down when we come back. Aerial coverage provided by Nationwide on what's turned out to be a nice day. Here in the middle of January, this divisional playoff on January 17th. Number 6 seed against the number 1 seed. 10-6 against 15-1. 17-point game.
Turned out to be a beautiful afternoon. When we woke up this morning, it was snowing here in Charlotte.
It was nasty, windy, and snowy this morning. Different deal now. On first down, handoff is to Stewart. Making his way toward a 100-yard day. Picks up 5. Jordan Hill on tackle. Here's how it looks early this morning. Front came in, snow flurries, a lot of wind. Even that's appeared to die down a little bit as we've gone. And now half the field is in sunshine on 2nd and 5. Camera shot out of the hotel room of our producer, Richie Zients. Pass is skipped in to Corey Brown. Third down and 5. It'll be part of the story, Troy, and maybe it's the play-by-play non-ex-player making an excuse, but this is a Seattle team that's traveled over 30,000 miles in the air. Obviously, that's something they always deal with, being the Pacific Northwest, but they had the -6 degree game on Sunday. Went home, now they're back. Third game in the Eastern time zone for them. 10 o'clock. Back in Seattle. It's a lot. It's a lot to answer to.
Well, traveling's hard. It's hard playing on the road, but they've had plenty of time to get their rest leading up to this game.
On third down and 5, passes tipped at the line and incomplete for Kachary. And it's another defensive stop for this good Seattle defense. It's finally playing some good football here in the second half.
Yeah, Michael Bennett, week in and week out, you just see this guy make plays. He's disruptive, as I said, and that one not so much off his hand as much as it just hit him in the head. And a ball that Cam Newton wasn't able to get over the top of him. But nevertheless, a good stop by Seattle and forcing a punt and giving the ball back to an offense that's really feeling pretty good about themselves here in the second half.
Another punt from Nortman. The dangerous Lockett. This is a good one. He hung it high, and with that, a fair catch at the 15. But 4:14 left, quarter number 3. And the always up Russell Wilson back to work, down 17. The biggest comeback in NFL history, 32 points. A playoff game between the Houston Oilers and the Buffalo Bills, January of '93. The quarterback is the man pictured there with Cam Newton. Quarterback on the wrong end of it. The great Warren Moon for the Houston Oilers as Russell Wilson tries to channel his inner Frank Reich, who was at the controls, not the great Jim Kelly, but Frank Reich, his backup, who rallied the Buffalo Bills for that home come-from-behind win. And there's Warren Moon, who is the analyst for the Seattle Seahawks on the radio. And he's been front and center watching the maturation of Russell Wilson, who has rarely had to play from behind in his NFL career. Never in a hole like this. 2nd and 10. Pass is caught short of a first down. That's Curse, who has a touchdown in the game. Good for 8.
I think Warren Moon's glad that he's doing radio for Seattle right now and has his headset on and not listening to us and having to relive that moment back in January of '93.
Pete Carroll, the fiery head coach, 64 years old, stalking the sideline, looking for a conversion on 3rd and 2. Lynch in there. Wilson throws, pass is incomplete for Baldwin. Could not haul it in, and then a near pick. As McLean was there defending for Carolina, it's a quick 3 and out.
Well, it was the right idea by coordinator Darrell Bevell, and a ball that Baldwin, usually makes routine, but Russell Wilson doesn't help him. I mean, that should have been a pretty easy completion. They roll him out, get him away from the pressure. It's third and short, and yet they're just not able to convert.
Not saying it's going to happen, not saying it even makes sense here, but with Pete Carroll in the playoffs, sometimes you can expect the unexpected. And, well, here you go. Here is a snap to Shed, and Deshaun Shedd's got a first down. And there's Pete Carroll, a little January magic, and Deshaun Shed picks it up on the ground, and they continue the drive. He's not scared.
Well, he's not scared, and they always have those types of things within your offense as far as what you're going to do in these situations. If you're going to go for it, the fake punt, they snap the ball directly to Shed, got blocking out in front of him, and then he picks up the first down. Just a great job of execution by the Seattle Seahawks in a very critical moment in this game.
Derek Coleman with the block on Finnegan. They got the first down. Wilson protected, pass caught. Curse had to reach over the middle, and Jermaine Curse is showing his quarterback he's willing to lean out over the middle knowing he may get popped.
Yeah, and when you talk to Russell Wilson about him, when you say, hey, what do you like about Jermaine Curse, the first thing he always says is he's got a big catch radius. I mean, you can kind of put that ball anywhere, and he's going to go get it. And the Seattle offense has Carolina on their heels.
Out to his right, Wilson shakes a tackle and is out of bounds. You see where they mark him. This crowd was reacting, thought there was a hold out there by the offensive line. Johnson forced him out, no gain.
But you just knew in this second half, Joe, when you have that big of a deficit, you just have to be really good and win in all three of those phases. Special teams has to be a part of that. The big return by Tyler Lockett, and then this fake punt, and you see Ron Rivera, he's talking about the hold. He's saying that Marshawn Lynch had a hold, which he did, and it certainly could have been called.
Had a hold of Roman Harper. Wilson in big trouble. Down he goes. Norman got him. The All-Pro corner for his coverage skills gets a sack.
Yeah, Norman was in coverage initially, and then he just kind of ad-libbed on that one, and he goes and gets Russell Wilson. Initially, he's in coverage on his guy, and then off he comes. He sees an opening, and that was a time when Russell Wilson had time to see it and get the ball out and avoid the sack.
Well, it's 3rd down and 24. I'm not so sure that Seattle's thinking about the 24. They're trying to get on the other side of midfield. And a timeout will be taken, and then they can make a decision as to whether they go for it on 4th down or down by 17 if they want to punt it. They got a long way to go, and you can see Russell Wilson maybe calling the timeout as much to catch his breath as anything.
Let's take a look at Josh Norman out here at corner, and you're going to see initially he's running. He's going to cover Marshawn Lynch on the drag route. He's in zone coverage, so he's not locked up in man, but he sees an opening, and he sees Russell starting to scramble a little bit, and he just took it, and he makes the play.
Josh Norman, the All-Pro, had 4 picks, 2 for touchdowns. The touchdowns came early in the season. 3 forced fumbles, did not have a sack. But he gets a big one here, and Carolina has 5 sacks in this game. This is what Thomas Davis had to say about the great Russell Wilson. We look at him like a running back with a very strong arm, and they came and got him and have 5 times in the game. 3rd down and 24. There's 4 men on the rush. Underneath it's Lynch. He's got a long way to go. Kuechly, Coleman. And now it'll be 4th down. And the punt team comes out for Seattle. And Pete Carroll has some last-minute instructions right there for John Ryan, the punter.
Yeah, so you get in the situation where you take the sack. Now you're at 3rd and 24, and against this defense, it's just not going to happen. And so you unveil the fake punt that worked, and yet you're not able to do anything with it except take time off the clock.
Play it straight. Fair catch. And it got away for a moment from Ted Ginn, but he's able to get back on it. And Ginn makes some hearts skip a beat around here as he did not make the catch cleanly. The Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award, presented by Nationwide, has a long history of honoring players who have significantly impacted both the game and their communities. Each NFL team nominates one player for the award, with the winner being announced at the NFL Honors Award Show on February 6th on CBS. This year's nominee for Carolina is Greg Olsen.
Yeah, it's a great award, and Thomas Davis won it last year. I thought his acceptance speech was terrific. There's only going to be one guy that gets it, of course, this year also, but they do, as we have done, recognize someone from each team. 32 guys. They've all been terrific in their communities, and there's so many other guys that are doing so much, and hats off to them.
And after the late great Walter Payton, starting from just outside the 10. At the 12, first down. Potential final play of quarter number 3. A carry by Jonathan Stewart. We'll take it across the 15. He got 4, and that will do it for the first 3 quarters in this divisional matchup between Carolina and Seattle. The winner takes on Arizona next Sunday late. It'll either be here in Charlotte or in Glendale. Off to the 4th we go after this from your local Fox station. It's the 17 points put up in the second quarter by Carolina, the home team, that's the difference in the game, if you want to look at it that way. If you don't, it's not going to upset me at all. 31-14, fourth quarter rolls in, and Carolina is faced with 2nd down and 6. Seattle needs another stop. Cam trying to take this thing over again. Off he goes. KJ Wright, good tackle. And if Newton gets past Wright, looks like he's got a first down, 3rd down and 3.
KJ Wright's been flying all around the field here in this game. He's got 12 tackles on the day, and that was one of the plays that Carolina was able to have some success with back in October, those designed quarterback keepers. But KJ Wright there to make the stop and force a 3rd and 3.
Newton on 3rd down, protected. Near side, Dixon, the tight end. He's got a first down. Deshaun Shedd out there in coverage, and Dixon good for 6 and a big first down for Carolina.
Credit this offensive line and what they're doing up front, and allowing Cam Newton to sit in the pocket and look downfield, and even when it hasn't been there, you know, he's been able to get the ball out. So he's not been under a great deal of pressure. He sits in there, and then he finds his guy, and he picks up the first down.
Fake the delayed handoff. Newton with plenty of time. Pass is caught by Jonathan Stewart, who they faked it to at the start of the play. Bobby Wagner there to tap him down, a gain of 5. Good job by this offensive line for the Carolina Panthers. Only 1 sack for this, at times, fierce Seattle Seahawks pass rush.
I started to get into it earlier in the ball game, but going back to last year when they really started to make that run and get into the playoffs, it was the play of the offensive line that really allowed them to do that. And they had a couple rookies in Trey Turner at right guard and Andrew Norwell, and you know, those guys as young players developed pretty quickly. On the job training came into this season, and they've been off and running and playing well all year.
2nd down and 5. Stewart this time bottled up. Looked like Marsh was in there first, but Dobbs was there as well, along with Mebane, who is the big tackle at 6'1", 311. Outdone size-wise by the guy to his left, typically Ataba Rubin, 6'2", 325. They are big on the interior of this Seattle defensive line.
Yeah, they're pretty thick, and Cam Newton slowing down the pace, and like I said, there's this balance that you have as a quarterback to where you want to try to run the play clock down and take time off the clock, and at the same time you don't want to lose the momentum that you're used to. But another big third down for the Seattle defense. Cam Newton doesn't like what he sees.
Well, it's the second time I think they've waited so long trying to take time off the clock. Well, it's been a better second half, obviously, for the Seattle Seahawks. Joe, that's Troy, and you knew the Seahawks weren't going to give up, but you get the sense that this drive right here, if Carolina can put together a long one, basically seal it. If Seattle gets a stop, they can climb closer and stay in it.
Yeah, I mean, Seattle's fighting the opponent, but they're also now fighting the clock. This is a huge third down here in this fourth quarter. 17 points down. There's still time for Seattle, but they have to get the ball back into their offense's hands to see what they can do. Seattle much better in this second half on this down, but I agree. If Carolina is able to mount some first downs, take time off the clock, and then obviously if they get more points and build this lead, it's going to be next to impossible for Seattle.
On third down, Newton throws, pass caught, Olsen underneath. Where do they mark it? Right at the first down marker. Chancellor is there, and he almost took the helmet off the head of Greg Olsen.
Well, look at the spot, but Greg Olsen going to the sidelines with one arm hanging down. That was a blow, and he goes down immediately. I'm not sure exactly where that ball was. I know it was awfully close from here as to whether or not he picks up the first down, but Olsen left the field right after getting up.
Well, let's say this for Carolina. If this is good for a first down, it would be their 9th conversion in this game, 9 for 13. And it is right there. They are going to give them the first down. And we saw that a couple of times last night as they look at Greg Olsen, who took that shot from Cam Chancellor. We saw that last night in the Arizona-Green Bay game. That's the second time in this game Greg Olsen has gotten just enough to get a first down, and Ed Dixon is in the lineup now for Carolina.
With no penalty. The next penalty will be a 15-yard unsportsmanlike.
That's a sideline warning against Seattle. No penalty. And Pete Carroll is still working the official over there right in front of him. So they give him a warning, and then you could hear Tony Correnti say the next one's a penalty. First down from the 35. Here's Brown. Sherman can't bring him down. And the guy they call Philly Brown able to break that tackle and pick up 5 as Shed forced him out.
You know, that hit by Cam Chancellor then on Greg Olsen, it was right over there near the bench of Seattle and right where Pete Carroll was standing, and you know, he felt like he had a good look at it. And I know at this point in the game, you know, as I said, clock is of the essence, and you're wanting to challenge that and see if you can't get the ball back, but there was really not anything there that would make you think that it would be overturned, and you just simply can't afford to lose a timeout in the process.
I think it was a good no challenge. Second down and 5. Toss to Stewart. He'll spin ahead for 2.5. Third and short coming up. And now a 100-yard day for Jonathan Stewart, and that is the first time that's happened against the Seattle defense. It had been 26 games since they allowed a 100-yard rush here. Chris, what's going on with Greg Olsen?
The team doctor and trainer, he's in excruciating pain. They're massaging the right shoulder. Right now he's questionable returning in this game with a shoulder injury, Joe.
Good job up front by Seattle. Newton wanted to run it. KJ Wright was there along with Irvin, and Wright is slow to get up.
That was an excellent job. They've got Jericho Cotchery, number 82, who's in there, and he gets pushed right back into the lap of Cam Newton. Cam does the nice thing and just goes to the ground and protects himself. Good job there on third down of now forcing a punt and giving the ball back to this offense and seeing what they can do with it. But third downs, Carolina overall offensively has dominated throughout this game.
Lockett wants a jolt. He is going to stay away. And that would be exactly what the special teams coordinator Bruce DeHaven wanted. Keep it away from Lockett. Seahawks get the ball, 9:32 left, down 17.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Bank of America, by Clean Crisp Coors Light, and by Subway, founded on fresh.
The numbers for Seattle since 2010, 5-2 record in the postseason after trailing by 9 or more points. That was the case last week when they came back in the ridiculously cold Minnesota game. Won at 10-9. Now taking over at their own 27. Here's one for Curse. Got behind McLean, but again overthrown.
Well, he's had a couple of opportunities to create some big plays, and if there is an Achilles heel for this Carolina defense, it's the fact that they have given up some big plays. They've given up big plays this season on the ground. They've also given up big plays through the air, but that's twice now he's had an open guy. One of them would have been an easy touchdown earlier, but he misses this one also.
The biggest story for Seattle is Russell Wilson, for as good as he's been, took his game to a new level once they lost Lynch and even Jimmy Graham. Finished the season red hot. Was the top quarterback in quarterback rating, and he's got Lockett. Lockett incomplete, could not get his feet down. Pressure by Jared Allen, and Tyler Lockett came close. Oh, did he drag the right foot? That may be worth a challenge.
Yeah, I don't think Pete Carroll has any choice but to challenge this. As close as this is, it sure looks like that right toe is down to me, and so far, no, there it is.
The left foot is down, the right foot drags, the toes, you can see it bring up the dirt and the turf. What do you think, Mike Pereira?
I'll tell you, I think it's a catch because the fact is you get the turf that comes up, it's just the tip of the toe that hits, and I do think the other element, does he hold on to the ball when he hits the ground?
Of an incomplete pass.
Very tight where they're dragged, but it drags just in bounds in my opinion. I think I'd reverse this to a catch.
Good challenge by Pete Carroll. Let's get the call from Tony Correnti.
After the review, the ruling on the field will be reversed. It is a completed pass. It will be Seattle's ball at the 46-yard line. First down. Seattle will not be charged with a timeout.
Took a divot on the sideline. Kevin Smith pointing to it. And that is a 27-yard completion to the rookie Tyler Lockett. He is just getting better and better and better.
That was a great catch by Lockett, but it was also a great job by him of giving Russell Wilson somewhere to go with the ball when he got outside the pocket and was scrambling because he had to come out of his route and then of course get his feet down. Right now trying to find out exactly where the placement of that ball is going to be.
Let's feed our statistician sprung into action when they initially put the football down in the wrong spot. They're inside Carolina territory at the 46. Wilson has his man. That's Curse again. And a good throw from Russell Wilson. Curse with a spinning catch for 15.
That Curse is on the sideline. He had another underneath throw, an easier one if he wanted to take it, but he hung in there and delivered a football, and Curse goes up and makes a nice play on the ball.
8.5 to go. Blitz. Wilson rolled away from the blitz. Here's Wilson. And Wilson's going to set him up just outside the 20 with a first down.
Well, Luke Wilson, as I said, he gives them an option that they've been lacking here for the last couple of weeks. You see the Seahawks, they're huddling. Russell's able to get the call from the sidelines and then get everybody out. But obviously they've got to get moving. They're burning a fair amount of time in between these plays.
We have 2 timeouts on the scoreboard. Here's Curse. A lot of cushion out there. McLean makes the stop. A gain of 6 on first down.
Yeah, that's good work by Robert McLean. Coming up, making the tackle and keeping the ball in play so this clock continues to run.
McLean originally, as you said, a 7th-round pick by these Carolina Panthers, has come all the way back around after getting cut by the Patriots in the final roster cutdowns. Here's Lynch. Marshawn Lynch. He's got a first down, 1st and goal. With the ball near the 7, Kuechly on the tackle, a run of 8 yards.
I thought that was going to be one of those runs where he carries about 6 guys with him. He was pretty determined there to finish it, ricocheting off a few guys.
7 minutes left. Wilson, end zone. Wilson off his left hand. From Russell to Luke. Incomplete. And Luke Kuechly was there in coverage. Little nerves and anxiety for Cam Newton watching this at one point 31-point lead slide to 17. Trying to make it now a 10-point game with a touchdown. Wilson, Lynch, Thomas Davis. Thomas Davis, who has been through 3 torn ACLs, playing great football with a strong tackle one-on-one on Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, and then the whole group comes and rallies to him, and that's pretty impressive. The gang tackling there, and I know you're down in here tight. It's a 3-score game right now. You got to come away with a field goal at some point anyway. I'm really surprised Pete Carroll not kicking the field goal here.
Well, it's 3rd down.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That would be headline grabbing. 3rd down and goal out to his right. Now spinning around and in a ton of trouble. This one is caught for the touchdown. Curse. What a job by Russell Wilson. Almost had the field Troy of that 2-point conversion last year in the NFC Championship game at home in that big comeback win over Green Bay.
Yeah, Russell Wilson, he's able to buy some time, and then you see the job that he does of scrambling and then allowing his guy to go up and make a play on this ball. Just a terrific job by Russell Wilson, and Josh Norman trying to stay with him, but it's a lot like basketball, and he goes up to make a play and Curse over the top, and so what a finish on that drive to come away with the touchdown.
Curse 6-1. Norman listed at an inch shorter. Big extra point is good from Hauschka, who missed 4 during the regular season. Russell Wilson, 3 touchdown passes, 2 to Jermaine Curse, who loves the spotlight in January. It's a 10-point game.
Today's game is sponsored by the Ford F-150. Every other truck is history.
It's one of the participants in the first ever Black College Intercollegiate football game. As we welcome you back and talk about the 2016 NFL Pro Bowl. Hall of Famers Michael Irvin, Jerry Rice select the teams to the Pro Bowl draft on Wednesday, January 27th, and watch the Pro Bowl live from Aloha Stadium on Sunday, January 31st on ESPN at 7 Eastern. Go to NFL.com/Pro Bowl to learn more. With the Carolina Panthers half expecting the onside kick. They kick it rather deep, and it's Joe Webb on the return. Look at Norman. Got one finger on it, not enough. Wilson celebrates the touchdown to Curse in what is now a 10-point thriller. The Carolina Panthers have to be thrilled to have Greg Olsen back in the huddle on the field after taking that shot from Cam Chancellor. The game summary, and that's just the beginning of it. Panthers led 31-0 at the half here at home. And that good defense has been trumped by the offense of the Seahawks. 10-point game. Slipping as he gets it is Stewart. Gets hit by Earl Thomas. Remember, Troy, with 2:22 left in the first half, the Seahawks trailed 31-0. Passed on a 36-yard field goal, didn't convert on a 4th and 5. And they tried it and obviously made it. This would be a 7-point game. And Hauschka missed a 55-yard try at the end of the half. So a couple of missed chances in what was a lost first half for Seattle, weighing heavily now. See what the Panthers have done the last 4 times they've had it. 4 punts. 2nd and 7. Newton. Olsen up to grab it. And he's got another first down. That's 3 times I can remember Greg Olsen just left all alone in the secondary by the Seahawks.
Well, and the reason is that Seattle likes to play zone coverage, and so because of the time in the pocket that Cam Newton has, he's able to survey the field and kind of find his guy. And when a quarterback has time like that, as a defense, you start to slough and play underneath the deeper throws, and it opens up some of those underneath guys, and Cam Newton's been able to find them.
Coming up on 4.5 minutes left, first down for Carolina. That was a big completion to Greg Olsen, who left injured last time Carolina had it. Here's Tolbert, the Pro Bowl fullback / halfback, back to the line of scrimmage, brought down by Michael Bennett. Saturday, primetime boxing returns to Fox for the first time in nearly 20 years, undefeated. Danny Garcia takes on former champion Robert Guerrero, live from Staples Center in Los Angeles. Saturday at 8 Eastern, right here on Fox. And then the next night, will be the NFC Championship game, either Arizona here against the Carolina Panthers or Russell Wilson's Seahawks in Glendale, Arizona. 2nd and 10. Here's Stewart left side. He's had a good game, and it started with that 59-yard run on the first play from scrimmage for Carolina. Timeout taken here by Seattle. They're down to 1. For Stewart, 106 yards on the day. Missing the previous 3 games with a sprained foot. It's his left foot, and he has shown no sign of being slowed down by that at all.
Yeah, he came into the season, he was going to have more of the workload with D'Angelo Williams going elsewhere, and he held up through the 13 games and had to deal with that foot, but he felt like he was well rested coming into this game and could have played in a couple of those late games to end the season. But boy, he got the game off to a great start there on the opening play of the game.
We mentioned the first 100-yard rusher, that's Stewart, allowed in the last 27 games. Jamal Charles, the last to do it against Seattle. 3rd and 7. Olsen not out there. Hand off to Tolbert. Won't get it. And it's 4th down. And the clock continues to run with under 3.5 left. Gain of 5. Bennett made that tackle. Seattle about to get it back. Olsen with 6 catches, Troy, in this game, all 6 for first downs. Not on the field on that 3rd down carry by Tolbert.
Yeah, well, Ron Rivera, he's just saying, hey, I'm going to bet on my defense, and we're going to run the ball and play the clock game. So Seattle used their timeout. They run it on 3rd down. Tough to pick up the first down and then get their defense back out there and see if they can make a stop.
I guess Ron Rivera hopped off the riverboat. High-hanging punt. Flag is down. Lockett somehow able to corral that punt. We'll check the penalty. Seahawks are pleading their case. We'll get the call from Correnti. This is interesting. It was a 4th and 2. If it's a post-kick foul.
Offense. Seattle has opted for the opportunity to have the 5-yard penalty added to the end of the kick. First down.
So there you go. Even though Seattle's sideline was reacting, it is against Carolina. In the essence and in the mind of saving time, they're just going to tack on 5 yards, forget another punt, go from there. How about the second half? It started with this big return by Lockett. Then a penalty, eventually a touchdown throw to Jermaine Kearse. Russell Wilson says we're not finished. How about this in the back of the end zone by Lockett? On the catch before he headed out of bounds, and then Wilson making it happen. It was tipped by Norman into the hands of Kearse, and Cam Newton says we got to go back to work. Seattle has it down 10, 2:49 left, 1 timeout. From the 22. Lynch at the bottom of the screen. Wilson throws, and he's got a completion. That's Doug Baldwin. The Seahawks hurry it up, a 2-score game.
They've got Marshawn Lynch in there as the running back. A lot of times in these situations, they'll go with Fred Jackson, but they will split Marshawn out. Don't lose him either. I mean, he's got more receiving skills than oftentimes he gets credit for.
Wilson. Pass is to the sideline, incomplete. Was the initial call. Now one official overrules the other and says catch. Jermaine Kearse. And outside of 2 minutes, the challenge would have to come from Ron Rivera. He made the catch where his feet in. Able to secure it to the ground. That looks like a good catch. Mike Pereira's down there.
Yeah, it's close there, Joe. I don't know about the right foot once he has control.
Mike, go ahead.
Well, you look at the back foot. Watch the back foot when he first gets control. It's on the ground, still dragging, ruled a catch. Nothing here would seem to me. It's very close, but I don't think it can be overturned.
Of a completed pass.
So Ron Rivera, who had the most challenges during the regular season, was 9 for 14. Wants them to give this another look. Call when we come back. No head coach challenged more or was more successful than Ron Rivera. We think that he'll lose this challenge. Here comes the call.
Oh, he doesn't.
Mike Pereira thinks catch. What does Tony Correnti think?
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. It is a completed pass. The runner was out of bounds. With the game clock operator, please reset the game clock to 2:19. 2:19. Carolina is charged with the timeout.
So they can't challenge. Not a huge deal as we approach the 2-minute warning, where inside all the challenges come from up above. But as it is, Seattle has 1 timeout. They'll get a clock stop at the 2-minute warning, and that's it as they trail by 10. Russell Wilson now is throwing for over 300, and Jermaine Kearse has had over 100 yards receiving. And this second half has been fantastic, but the hole was deep, 31 points at the half. 2nd and 2. Protection underneath, tip but caught, first down. That's Luke Wilson, and he's going to hop out with 2:11 left. That ball was tipped, as the touchdown pass was moments ago, good for 14.
It looked like K'Wan Short is the one who got a hand on it. They went verticals up the field, and then they put Wilson out in the flat. They get the ball. You see, definitely gets tipped, and yet they're still able to complete that to pick up the first down. Good concept, trying to get the big play. If not there, you leak somebody out to be enough for the first.
2:11 left. Wilson floats one. Kuechly got a hand on it. Baldwin the intended target, and the beloved Luke Kuechly closed down on it.
It just kind of shows you some of the abilities of Luke Kuechly. He's out there in coverage, and You know, Baldwin was open and Russell Wilson with time, and he lays it out there, but Kuechly able to make up the ground, get his hand on the ball. That's a lot of range for Luke Kuechly.
2nd and 10, 2:05 left. Here's Curse. Might as well. We're headed for the 2-minute warning anyway. 1:59. The catch is good for 6. 3rd down when we come back. What a game this has turned into in Charlotte. Tonight, after the Steelers-Broncos game, the UFC Bantamweight Championship live on FS1. Champion TJ Dillashaw, former champ Dominic Cruz. The biggest UFC fight ever on free TV tonight after the AFC playoffs. Only on FS1. 3rd down and 4. 1:59 left. And in the middle of the defensive huddle during the 2-minute warning, Cam Newton came out. The leader of this team. Here's a 3rd and 4. A flag flies. So loud the players couldn't hear the whistles. It wasn't for delay of game. Play clock was at 5.
False start. Offense, number 16. 5-yard penalty remains. 3rd down.
They get Lockett out on the edge.
I didn't see it from here when it happened, Joe, but you see Lockett just enough, and Josh Norman was the one who reacted, and that's when the official came in and blew it dead. So good job there of getting the call with Lockett flinching.
In case you're wondering, they're outside of field goal range at the moment. 3rd down and 9. Pass is caught. 1st down. Doug Baldwin with a big one for the Seahawks, and the drive continues inside the 30 with 1:46 left. They keep the gas pedal down. Here's Baldwin again, a diving catch inside the 15. And up to the line they come yet again.
They're staying on him, and Baldwin slips coming off the line, but still able to gather himself.
And now Russell Wilson clocks it. The Carolina defense pitched a shutout in the 1st half and got 2 takeaways. The Seattle defense has pitched a shutout here in the 2nd half. And now they turn to the guy who's really blossomed in 2015, 2016, Doug Baldwin, with the last 2 catches from Russell Wilson.
Yeah, one of the most competitive guys in our game at the wide receiver position. The field conditions have kind of neutralized some of what he does best, and that is, you know, his route running ability and reversing field, but a couple big plays right there by him.
Lynch splits out. And delay of game.
Offense, 5-yard penalty remains. 2nd down.
A delay of game called against Pete Carroll's Seahawks, which moves it back to the 18.
Yeah, it just really shouldn't happen. Russell's just lost the play clock a couple of times in this game, and right there he gets a delay of game.
Play clock at 9. 2nd and 15.
They stay with what they had. They got Marshawn Lynch down here at the bottom.
Flag again. End zone. The tight end Wilson overthrown. But a flag at the start of the play. Before a 3rd and 15, here comes the call.
Illegal formation, offense. This penalty has been declined. Result of the play creates 3rd down.
So instead of 2nd and 20, Mike Pereira. If they decline the penalty, it's 3rd down and 15.
And certainly declined it. It was called because the wide receiver at the bottom of the screen is off the line. You can see he's almost 2 yards off the line. That leaves the end, the left tackle uncovered, which is an illegal formation.
There's Marshawn Lynch down there. Wilson, end zone, Curse, incomplete, no flag. And with that, we'll see if the field goal team will check in, and they will.
They go after Robert McClain again on that corner position and unable to drive the ball away from McClain to give him a chance because of that underneath coverage. This defense for Carolina tightens up here when they had to.
Clint Gresham will snap it. John Ryan will hold it. Hauschka will attempt a 36-yarder. He has missed from 55. Prior to that, he was 14 for 14 in his postseason career. This to make it a one-score game. And hope is kept alive. And a good job by the holder, John Ryan. You could see him spin it right before Hauschka's foot went into the middle of the football.
You see, he definitely gets it turned, and good execution there. So now it's a matter of whether or not Seattle can execute the onside kick.
The Seahawks, no matter what happens in this game, deserve a lot of credit. Down 31-0 on the road against this good Carolina team, the #1 seed. Russell Wilson, who has not been in a position like that in his young NFL career. He didn't quit. Pete Carroll didn't quit. And here they are in a 7-point game, but now they need to recover an onside kick.
And really not surprised. We talked about to open up this second half, if there was a team or a quarterback that was going to be able to get them back into a position, it was certainly going to be Russell Wilson. And they played well here in the second half. They dug a big hole, but you know, now it comes down to the execution here of this onside kick.
Stephen Hauschka 2 for 8 on onside kicks all time. We saw one of them last January in the NFC Championship game against Green Bay. And Hauschka will try to make himself 3 of 9, and it's up to the guys on the outside. And the hands team for the Panthers. Special teams coach Brian Schneider. What has he dialed up? Good hop. And it's recovered by Carolina. It looked like Davis, and it is. Thomas Davis, the beloved linebacker headed to the Pro Bowl, is there behind that initial front. And the 11-year vet who's had some journey is there to receive the onside kick try from Hauschka.
Yeah, and that was not an easy play for him to make. He had to go get it and get the ball and know that Derek Coleman, number 40 for Seattle, was right there to deliver the blow, and he hangs on to the football. It's a great job by a veteran guy, and you talk about his journey, Joe. It's been awfully amazing, and he's going to his first Pro Bowl, or was voted to it. He hopes not to be able to play in it, but just a great job by him finishing off the play.
State Farm postgame show is coming up after the final whistle. Thomas Davis, 3 torn ACLs in the same knee, and he thought after the second, no way will the Carolina Panthers stick with me. And he went in to visit with the owner here with the Panthers, Jerry Richardson, with his head coach, Ron Rivera. He said, give me one more chance. And it was James Andrews who did the surgery. He saw Davis. He said, Thomas, I did a good job. You have a chance to play again, after taking the patella tendon out of his other knee. And here he is, arguably having the best year of his career. And there is Jerry Richardson, the native Carolinian. Played in the NFL with the Colts. And I'm sure a proud man as his team will host the NFC Championship game here next Sunday night. Their championship game history, they lost to the Packers. In 2003, they beat the Eagles, lost to the Patriots in the Super Bowl. And then in 2005, lost to the Seahawks, 35-14. Luke Kuechly is the leader. Right in the heart of that defense, and they were tested, Troy, here in the second half with a furious comeback attempt by the Seahawks.
Yeah, they sure were. I mean, this was a tough ball game, and they hung on. It was just too much for Seattle to overcome based on the way that this game began. But what a great win for this franchise to move on to the NFC Championship game and face the Arizona Cardinals next week. But this was a big win and a team win, and just too much, like I said, for Seattle. They dug themselves such a hole. Didn't give up any more points, but just couldn't quite come back from the deficit.
They're calling a delay of game against Ron Rivera's Panthers. Cam Newton was upset about it. One more snap and that's it. You saw the look ahead to next Sunday late here in Carolina, barring the seemingly impossible. It will be the #1 seeded Carolina Panthers against the #2 seeded Arizona Cardinals.
Spotted. Therefore, there will not be a delay of game penalty. The game clock will be set at 25 seconds and will start on my signal.
All they have to do is execute a good snap and it's over. In case you're wondering, Arizona and Carolina did not play this season. Is that it for Marshawn Lynch in a Seattle Seahawk uniform? This could be his last game if they cut him for cap reasons next year. Meanwhile, Newton takes a knee, and the Carolina Panthers are headed to their 4th NFC Championship game with a 7-point win here at home over Seattle. And those two young stars, Troy, come together. These two guys almost think of it like a divisional rivalry with the Seahawks and the Panthers, and we'll be hearing and seeing a lot from these two.
Well, we will, and of course Cam Newton's journey continues next week, but Russell Wilson doesn't have anything to be ashamed of, nor do the Seattle Seahawks. It's a great year for them. They come up on the short end against an outstanding football team.
31-24, Carolina moving on to the championship game. The State Farm postgame show coming up after this.